They say that living well is the best revenge. But what happens when the person who hurt you the most comes crawling back, filled with regret and desperate for another chance? How do you handle the moment when your cheating ex, the one who shattered your trust and left you broken, suddenly realizes what they lost? Today, we dive deep into the raw emotions of betrayal, healing, and self-discovery. This is not just a story of heartbreak. It's a journey of resilience, transformation, and ultimate self-respect. The pain of infidelity is unlike anything else. It's not just about losing someone you loved. It's about losing the future you imagined together. The moment I found out the truth, I felt a level of pain I didn't even know was possible. I couldn't look at myself in the mirror. I didn't recognize the person staring back at me. Was it because of how miserable I looked, or because she had completely shattered my confidence? I didn't know. All I knew was that the pain was unbearable. For 3 years, I gave everything to her. I made sacrifices. I went out of my way to make her happy. I spent money I didn't even have just to surprise her with trips. I introduced her to my family, my closest friends, and the people who mattered most in my life. I made her a part of my world, and she repaid me with betrayal. When I found out she had been cheating on me, not just once, but with multiple men, I felt like my entire world collapsed. The worst part was learning that she had been reckless. Her own aunt told me the truth. She hadn't even used protection. The situation was so bad that I had to immediately get tested for STDs. I remember sitting in that clinic, staring at the floor, feeling completely numb. It wasn't just about the betrayal anymore. It was about my health, my future, and the complete lack of respect she had for me. That day, I ended things for good. I blocked her on everything. I refused to give her a chance to explain. There was nothing left to say. In the first few weeks after the breakup, I felt like I was drowning. I lost my appetite. I couldn't sleep. My mind was constantly replaying everything, searching for answers that didn't exist. The urge to text her, to get some kind of closure, was overwhelming. But I knew deep down that I couldn't disrespect myself like that. I had already been disrespected enough. I wasn't going to do it to myself, too. So, I forced myself to move forward. Blocking her was the best decision I ever made. 6 months later, everything had changed. It wasn't easy, but I channeled all my pain into something productive. I threw myself into the gym, determined to build my dream physique. I picked up new hobbies, started creating art again, and surrounded myself with a healthier, more supportive circle of friends. I focused on school, on my goals, on becoming the best version of myself. And then, something unexpected happened. I met someone new. I wasn't looking for love, and I certainly didn't think I was ready for another relationship. But life has a way of surprising you when you least expect it. Compared to where I was 6 months earlier, when I was at my lowest, the difference was night and day. I had gone from feeling completely broken to feeling hopeful again. The pain didn't disappear overnight. There were still days when the memories crept in, but each day, it hurt a little less. Just when I thought I had finally left the past behind me, my ex resurfaced. After 8 months of complete silence, she emailed me out of nowhere. It was a long, emotional message filled with regret. She talked about how she needed closure, how she realized she had broken my trust, and how she wished she had never hurt me. She said she would always be there for me, despite the fact that we were now strangers. She asked for forgiveness and, more than anything, wanted to be a part of my life again. I didn't need to read between the lines to understand what was really happening. She had finally faced the consequences of her actions. She had realized that no one else would treat her the way I did. The men she cheated with, they didn't care about her. They used her and discarded her. And now that she had no one, she wanted to come back to the person she once took for granted. I wasn't going to let that happen, out of respect for my new relationship, and most importantly, out of respect for myself. I chose to ignore her. I didn't respond. I didn't acknowledge her message. I moved forward, just like I had been doing for the past 8 months. But even though I didn't reply, her email stirred something inside me. It brought back emotions I thought I had already processed. I felt a flicker of anger, disappointment, and, for a brief moment, the pain of betrayal all over again. It wasn't as intense as it had been on D-Day, but it was still there, a reminder of how deep the wounds had once been. I don't miss her. I don't want her back. But I did hope that she would be gone for good. When she reappeared, trying to reel me back in, it was a test to see if I had truly moved on. And I passed. I refused to let her manipulate me. I refused to let her disrupt the peace I had fought so hard to build. The responses from people in the community echoed what I already knew in my heart. Some told me to delete her emails without even reading them. Others pointed out what was obvious. She wasn't reaching out because she cared. She was reaching out because she had no one else. One comment in particular stood out to me. Asterisk, let me translate that email for you. I can't find anyone who treats me well. The people I've been with don't respect me, and now I'm desperate to use you again. Please respond so I can manipulate you into taking me back. Asterisk, that's all it was. A desperate attempt to get back what she had thrown away. A full year has passed since the day I found out the truth. December 26th, 2023, the day after Christmas, was the day my life changed forever. It was the day I realized that the person I loved most had been lying to me for years. But it was also the day I took back my power. Today, I look in the mirror and I see someone stronger, someone wiser, someone who refuses to be defined by the mistakes of the past. Healing isn't a straight path. Some days, the memories still resurface, but they don't control me anymore. They serve as reminders of how far I've come. I've learned that time doesn't just heal, it transforms. The pain that once felt unbearable has become the foundation of my growth. I become someone I'm proud of, someone who values himself enough to never settle for less again. And when the past comes knocking, I don't answer. I let it stay locked out, because some doors are meant to stay closed forever. I never responded to her email, nor will I ever. She is a part of my past, and that's exactly where she belongs. There's no reason to reopen old wounds or entertain the idea of letting her back into my life. I've worked too hard to heal, to rebuild myself, and to move forward. Giving her any of my time or energy now would only be a step backward, and I refuse to do that. The journey to this point was brutal. The first few months after the breakup were some of the hardest I've ever experienced. I lost 15 pounds in the first week alone. I wasn't eating properly, barely sleeping, and making some of the worst decisions of my life. It felt like I had completely lost myself. My mind was consumed with questions, regrets, and a constant cycle of emotions I couldn't control. The betrayal felt like a weight pressing down on my chest, making it hard to breathe, hard to think, hard to even function. There were days when I genuinely wondered if I would ever feel normal again. People always say that time heals, but in those early days, I didn't believe them. I couldn't imagine a reality where I wasn't drowning in pain. Grief hit me first. The overwhelming sadness of losing someone I had loved and trusted. Then came the anger, the deep rage at how someone could be so selfish and deceitful. There were moments of denial, where I tried to convince myself it wasn't real, that maybe there had been some kind of mistake. And then there were the nights where I felt completely empty, like a hollow version of myself, unsure of how to move forward. But little by little, things started to change. The more I focused on myself, the more I realized that I wasn't just surviving, I was rebuilding. This year has been a testament to that transformation. I made the decision to actively go to the gym, and in doing so, I not only regained the weight I had lost, but replaced it with 15 pounds of muscle. It became more than just a physical transformation. It was mental, emotional. Every time I lifted, every time I pushed myself further, I was proving to myself that I was stronger than my past. I landed a new job, one that challenges me and makes me feel like I have a purpose. I built a new circle of friends, people who bring positivity into my life, who genuinely support and uplift me. Unlike the toxic environment I shared with my ex, My social life now feels fulfilling and real. I reconnected with old friends, some of whom have become like family to me. These friendships, which had once faded into the background, have now become some of the most meaningful relationships in my life. Creativity became another outlet. I poured my energy into new art projects, rediscovering passions that had been neglected during my time with my ex. For so long, I had been so wrapped up in that toxic relationship that I lost sight of the things that truly brought me joy. But now, I'm creating again, expressing myself, and using my talents to build something meaningful. Perhaps the biggest change of all is that I've entered a new relationship, one that is nothing like my last. This time, I'm with someone who values communication, honesty, and respect. There are no games, no secrets, no betrayal. Instead, there's trust, adventure, and a level of emotional security I never realized I was missing. It feels healthy. It feels real. And for the first time in a long time, I feel genuinely happy with someone. Looking back, I realize how much I've changed. The emotional roller coaster of being cheated on is something no one can fully prepare you for. I've felt everything: grief, sadness, anger, frustration, and eventually acceptance. At one point, the thought of my ex would trigger a flood of emotions. Now, I feel nothing. And it's not because I'm numb. It's because I've fully accepted what happened and moved on. She is nothing more than a chapter in my past, one that I have no desire to revisit. Time used to move painfully slow. Every day felt like an eternity. But as I filled my life with things that mattered, time started flying. The more I focused on my growth, my passions, and the people who truly cared about me, the less I thought about her. And now, sitting here, reflecting on the past year, I can see just how far I've come. For anyone who has been following my journey, thank you. Your support has meant more than you know. And for those who are just finding this now, I encourage you to look back at my earlier posts. Being cheated on is one of the most painful experiences anyone can go through, but healing is real. It takes time, and it looks different for everyone, but one day, you'll wake up and realize that the pain isn't as heavy as it once was. There are still moments when I feel a lingering sadness, but there isn't a single part of me that wishes to go back. The person I was a year ago would have done anything to fix what was broken, to get closure, to try and understand why she did what she did. But the person I am now, he doesn't care. He doesn't need closure. He doesn't need answers. He has built something better, and that's all that matters. If you're going through something similar, my advice is simple. Keep yourself busy. Surround yourself with people who love and support you. Dive into hobbies that make you feel alive. Work on yourself, physically, mentally, emotionally. Build the confidence that was taken from you, and make yourself 10 times stronger than before. At the end of the day, the biggest victory is living well. While I've grown in every way possible, new hobbies, new physique, new job, new friends, new relationship, she's still stuck in the past, regretting what she lost. That's the biggest flex of all. The best revenge isn't anger or bitterness. It's living a full, happy, unbothered life. I want to hear from you. How did you get over a cheating ex? Share your stories in the comments. Let's keep this conversation going. And if you enjoyed this, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss what's coming next. There's always another story to tell.